Do you want to know the best time to start your own business? Just ask Tammy Vanek, whose friends are talking about retirement while she's talking to small businesses, selling them websites. It's never too late to start, run, and grow your own web design business. As you're about to learn from Tammy, who, along with her husband and her family's support, has been cranking out beautiful website designs, selling them over the phone, fully remote, and is already increasing her prices due to crazy demand just 5 months into this. Her bold, straightforward attitude, her sincere, earnest interest in helping businesses thrive online is at the core of her offer, making her extremely approachable and someone who her clients love sending referrals to. Take this opportunity to do what Tammy herself does best, which is to listen closely to others in this industry, take their advice, apply it, and find your own success with it. Tammy comes to the table with a bit more experience than our average reseller, so I think you're going to love what she shares with us today. Hailing all the way from Florida is a veteran website salesperson but SiteSwan newbie, Tammy Vanek.
I appreciate you. I'm excited.
So one of the first things I want to make sure that we talk about is the Tammy before SiteSwan. So what was life like before you started selling websites with SiteSwan?
Well, I don't want to use the word older. I like to use more mature now. About probably 18 years ago, I went to an interview for a yellow book company that was going to start digital marketing. And I thought, well, I pick up my phone all the time to look for places. I'm not running around the house looking for a magazine or driving around in my car. So I believed that that was something worthy to businesses here. And I knew that the direction that it was going was not going to go away. So that company pretty much taught me everything I know about digital marketing because I knew nothing at all. And that's usually the way you start out, right? In new positions. You don't know, you learn, teach yourself, but hopefully they're good teachers too. From there, I worked with a few other digital marketing companies. The problem was the digital marketing companies that I work for, they're super huge, did not deliver what I was selling them and what they were telling me to sell them. So I said, look, I got to see my customers in the grocery store. I don't want to duck and hide. I want to make sure that they're getting what I'm selling them. So a lot of times I ended up having to do a lot of the copywriting and things myself to get it right. But yeah, that started my journey here. I happen to love it. I love meeting new customers. I love helping them. Whether they take my advice or not, I tell them that's all I'm trying to do is help you. If you don't want my help, that's fine too.
I like that. In a previous conversation, you and I talked a little bit about the print industry, specifically Yellow Pages and folks like that. And it's really interesting because they made this transition. The smarter ones made this transition because they saw the writing on the wall that there was going to be this shift from print advertising to digital advertising. And they were also wise enough to know that the website is essentially the hub of the marketing wheel, meaning that any kind of advertising or marketing that a business does centers around and stems to and from the website, which was in the middle. So I think it was actually a very smart move on their part to make that transition because those who didn't kind of really got left behind. So did you feel like the ability for the company to thrive perhaps a little longer was because of the fact that they made the move into going digital at the time that they did?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. I mean, if they're smart and they're in some type of print form, magazines, anything like that, they're going and even now radio, television, everything are wising up and they're going towards digital. So, yeah, that was a smart thing to do and that's the growth, that's the way it's going in the future. It's not going away. I always tell people Amazon, Google, and Facebook aren't going anywhere. Doesn't matter, they're here to stay. So, if you're in business, make sure that you're showing up online.
Yeah, and I think that also goes for other types of businesses that offer anything and something to a small business. If you can own that website relationship, you really have so much control over the ability to sell them other stuff. And not just because it's a lucrative thing to do, but because you can better understand the customer. When you own the website relationship, you will learn so much from them that you would have never been able to learn selling any other service. There's this level of trust that they put in you that is quite frankly remarkable. I've learned about all sorts of details about how small businesses are run that have nothing to do with their website, purely because we're the trusted website provider. And it does open up some doors for you, because if you're a good listener, you can come to understand what the needs are of your clients and then work on solutions that will appeal to them.
Yeah, well, the great thing about this position too, and I work with home services a lot, is they don't know how to do it or anything about it. They just know that they have to have the presence out there and they need it to work. And that's where I come in. I'm like, I don't know how to remodel a kitchen or put a roof on. So, but I do know about digital marketing. I know all the ingredients that are important. And for me to sell someone a print product like a magazine, and magazines and newspapers, everything, they're expensive. Radio, television, very expensive. But any of those types of creative marketing, billboards, wrap trucks, your business card, your word of mouth customers, they're probably going to go look for you online. And if they can't find you and they find someone else that looks great, they're going to kind of forget all about your sign or your word of mouth customer that told them to look for you. So it's very important. It's really your foundation to any business. I don't care what kind of business you're doing. You have to have that presence out there. You don't have to advertise, but have that website and make sure it looks good. Make sure it's well built, so it's a good representation of your business.
Right. Now, you had mentioned that in your previous position, you were kind of like handling everything about the website, despite only being technically responsible for the sale. So you realized, hey, I'm doing like 85% of the work anyway. Why not just do the other 15% and actually get paid a lot more? Because I won't just be paid a small commission, I'll collect the full amount for the site. Is that kind of what went through your head when you were making that transition to working for yourself?
All the time. All the time. My husband and I are both always knocking our heads together about entrepreneurial type of work. But I will tell you, 10 years ago, my girlfriend's like, I can't afford the outrageous price that the companies I worked for charge. So would you just build me a website? And so on a Sunday afternoon, after 9 hours of trying to build a website on one of the less expensive forms, I was like, forget it. This is why you pay people to do your websites, because it looked terrible. But not only does it look terrible, it doesn't have anything on the back end. So therefore, you might have a pretty face, but it's like having a cell phone without the service. So after just kind of running into a couple businesses in the past year that I've just been unhappy with and unhappy with what they were giving my customers, I don't know how you popped in, but SiteSwan popped up. And I took a look at it. When I heard about white label, I took a look at other places, but you're so informative on your videos. You're so good, Justin. And it felt like a really good fit. So, and I will say it has been absolutely 100%. It's so easy to use. And I tell my customers too, because in the bigger companies, they were like, okay, for one, they wouldn't let me ask the questions. They would have to speak to the business owner. And they would say, okay, what do you want on page 1? What do you want on page 2? Well, what do you want me to write there? What do you want me? And I was like, wait a second, they're paying you and you're asking them to do all this content, which is absolutely what they don't know how to do. Right. And everything. So I always tell my customers now, I do the homepage demo, like you suggested. However, I just say, let me wing it. I know a lot, because I've been doing this so long with roofing or painting. Let me wing it. And then when we go through the proof, you're going to say, oh no, Tammy, I don't do that. Or, oh, let me put another picture there or whatever. So I say, just let me run with it. And honestly, hey, I'm like, it's your website. I'll do anything you want to it. I'm going to make recommendations about what should and shouldn't go on there. How I found you guys. And I tell my husband every day, I'm just so thankful. I didn't know I could do this. And I knew I was successful at sales. I mean, I did great at the companies I work for, but there was always that problem. I could have $1 million sale yesterday, and today they were trying to fire me because I didn't have anything today. It was always beating you. They didn't care. It didn't matter whatsoever. And now I just do it myself, work at my own leisure, taking off all next week. I can do what I want. And my customers have been so happy because I can give better personal care to their solution, to their website, and they're just thrilled about it.
I know from my mother being in sales for over 20 years, selling pianos actually. She would
Oh,
always
cool.
say to me, God, I always feel like I'm only as good as my last sale. Forget the $40,000 piano I just sold. They don't care about that because that was yesterday. Um, and it was really true. Like I heard that everywhere that I went, any salesperson I talked to would always say the same thing. Only as good as my last sale. And the truth of it is that for the business, that last sale means something because there's recurring revenue attached to that when in the website world. Now you running your own business, every sale is cumulative. It all stacks up. So you can really look back and truly appreciate what it took to get each sale because it's continuing to pay you month after month, year after year, and that's rather rewarding. Let me ask you, so what you described, that process of building a site for a friend, was that your actual first website sale that you made on SiteSwan? If not, what was?
Well, my first sale, and I went on the 14-day launch plan, paid attention to all that, and I joined the 1st of May, but I really didn't start getting into it for several weeks because I wanted to read more and watch some of your videos. And my plan was 100% to stick to your pricing of the $49 a month, the $4.99 design fee, or I would waive the design fee for people. So actually, I think it was maybe the third person I called. This was absolutely yes. And honestly, if I go with the 49, I'd get a lot more yeses, but I've since changed, which I said I wouldn't do to the first of the year, but because they're asking me to do more and they're expecting it as well. So I've incorporated just adding the submission tool to their solution as well. But yeah, it was a company and they were all over the place, kind of like a handyman company doing everything, but then they also did moving and hauling. And I was like, well, I'm not going to put all this into one website. It just would not look right. It just doesn't mesh together. So I talked them into 2 websites. So I built 2 websites for them, one the hauling and then one the remodeling and things like that.
Wow. So it was a cold call?
Yep, it was a cold call.
And
And that
did you do one sale at a time, or it was you sold both sites at the same time?
I sold both sites at the same time. I just told them I wasn't comfortable doing that. It just wouldn't flow together. I know people might get on there and be confused. Are you a moving company or are you a kitchen remodeler or whatever, painter? So I really didn't give them too much of a choice. I just said, in my professional opinion, you need to have the 2 different sites because if you confuse people when they get there too, they're bound to just bounce, go to the next guy, pull them up. They got right to what they were looking for. So you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. I don't mind handymen, and they do everything, but I just pick the top 4 or 5 that either they love to do or they make the most money at, and hopefully that's the same. And then the last thing I say, and we do more. If you don't see it, just ask. I want to focus on their real bread and butter per se.
That's a good point. So I think oftentimes now you come with the experience of having sold websites before, so you've had these types of conversations before. But lots of folks who might be watching this are like, "Oh wow, you could tell your customer what to do." And yes, the answer to that is yes, you can. Because and even if you knew nothing about what was best practice, quote unquote, for websites, it's very easy just to look at, let's say, the themes that we give you, right? There is no carpentry theme that we have that will talk about a completely unrelated service. They all
Right.
stick to the typical types of services that a business in that industry offers for a reason. Because just like you said, no one is going to be able to comprehend if they're looking for hauling services. They won't spend 2 seconds on a carpenter's website before leaving because, like, well, I'm on the wrong site. So it is important that you get focused as a business owner. This is the coaching you can essentially give to your clients. Get focused on what your core services are. And just like you said, those are probably the ones that are most profitable for you. And let's just get really good at coming up in search results for those things. And they will be happier, and you will be happy.
Yeah, I love when I get a painter or a roofer and I finish them in 2 minutes. I just push the button and they're pretty much done. I put their logo on and they're good to go. Those are fabulous. It could not be easier and they could not look better. I know what the ingredients are to go in a website, and SiteSwan touches all of them. Mobile responsive on all devices, SEO optimized, user friendly, everything that Google wants it to be. And my customers have been so happy, leaving me great reviews and recommending me. And someone even called me. I have a cleaning customer in North Carolina. He's like, I don't know what you did, but I'm on the first page for several of my keywords. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because, I did it. And yeah, I know that. But no, you can't make those promises. But whether they want to show up online for their keywords or not, it starts with a website. They have to have a website, hands down. I get commercial roofers all the time that don't want anyone to really find them or advertise, but they know the importance of having that website up there for other companies that are going to be looking to use them.
Right.
So it's just, there's no doubts about it.
Have you ever had anyone ask you or tell you, oh, I don't need a website. I've got a Facebook page. I'm good. What do you say to that?
Well, I say, when you're looking for a service, have you ever gone to Facebook and typed in roofer near me? And they haven't. And not only that, I love it when I see someone doing Google ads to their Facebook page, because if they don't have a Facebook or they're not logged into it because they're using a different device because their boss told them to look for a roofer, they're going to back out. But you got that click and you're going to be charged for it.
I love your response to the objection I just gave you, because that's actually a perfect answer.
I hear that all the time. And I'm like, if
Yeah.
you don't need to advertise, but you still need to have the website, because they're like, nobody ever found me on Google. And I'm like, I agree. Because you're not found. When I typed in hundreds of keywords for your business, you're not coming up. But there's people searching, and you have to have that website to get found. We know, because if I ask them, where are you searching? They always tell me, Google.
Yeah.
So they know the importance of being there. And honestly, the reason why I like home services too, again, is because they don't know anything, but they know if they're getting calls and people finding them, they know they need that. I think they're wonderful. And I'm so grateful to all of them. It's just been a blast because I'm in control. I'm in control of what I'm selling to them, what I'm doing for them. And I know it's what I believe in.
I like that. Control. Now, on the topic of control, you mentioned before you're not working next week. What does a typical week for you generally look like when it comes to the time commitment that you're making to this? And obviously, it gives you these freedoms to take a week here and there.
Yeah, or a 2 or 3 hour lunch, or go to the movies at 2 o'clock. I find I can do whatever I want at any time. If I'm not selling, then obviously I'm not going to make any money and it's not going to be great. So I have to keep a pipeline that's very strong. And my typical week is Mondays and Fridays are always 100% creative, maybe looking for leads or something like that. But I'm probably finishing off websites, tweaking it here or there. I just started doing social media posts only. So I work on that. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I find those days better to call. And I try to do maybe 4 to 5 hours of calling people and talking to them. And I always look them up first. I hate to go in blindly and talk to people. So I look to see if they have a website, or if it's an awful website, I go to their Facebook page to see what they're doing, how active they are on that. And it's about a minute of my time. And then I have something to talk to them about. You don't have a website, I couldn't find it, or your website is not secure, or it's not mobile responsive, or don't you want to showcase your services? And because I can charge whatever I want, I can kind of tell, because I'm mostly working with 1 to 10 man shows, so I can tell when I get the one guy that's struggling and trying to do it. So he's going to get just exactly the same, but maybe a little bit less. And I've only had one cancellation per se, and it's because my client died, the husband, and I love them so much. It was terrible. And the wife doesn't know what to do, but I'm keeping their website up until she tells me otherwise, but not charging her.
That's nice.
So I keep it up. She's just got a lot going on in her mind. She doesn't know what to do yet. So Those kind of things, you can do it. You, like I said earlier, you have the control to do that. And again, you can't open your doors or, build it and they will come. You have to build it and market it and they will come. So making sure you're out there. I like to be involved in Facebook SWIT marks and business marks and things like that. And I keep telling myself I'm going to do the chamber and other little things like that, like get togethers. One thing for socially, but also to meet other people in the market. So that's been on my plate of things I want to do.
That's smart. About that client who passed away, it is an interesting thing. There's been this phenomenon that is ongoing and will probably increase of the the earlier part of the baby boomer generation who are business owners and aging out and saying, I don't want to work anymore. I can't work anymore. In your, a situation like you just described. And the truth is those businesses have value. And the business owners often don't recognize that value. So I think what you're doing right now by leaving that site online is actually providing a level of validity that if the wife ever did want to try and get that business sold, you're making it a ton easier for her. And I think that's commendable because no one wants to be in that situation. And
And
whatever you
it's
can do to
so
help is awesome.
Yeah, it's so wonderful that I can. You could never, with the bigger companies, adjust pricing or give people a break because of certain situations or anything like that. Was never anything that you could offer to them. And it was sad, during COVID and other times, where you're just, nope, still going to have to pay me. So I love that. And I'm happy to do that anytime for my customers. And like I said, I do go out above and beyond a little bit. It only takes me a minute, like QR codes or things like that for them. But I will say in this industry, because I'm more mature, you don't have to be young to be in it. Nobody cares if you're old or young or what you are, as long as you're willing to and do the work. And I have a very strong work ethic, so I would never goof off all week, ever. I'm always doing something. My husband always says I'm never not working, but that's because I'll see a car drive by with a sign on it for a HVAC
Taking a
customer, and
picture
I'll
of it.
snap the picture. And my kids send me pictures and everything too. So yeah, so he's always like, "You're never not working," but I
We've all
am. I
done
have a
that
lot of free
before.
time.
If you're short on leads, go to Home Depot and just
I
walk around the
know.
parking lot and snap photos.
Just sit there. Yep, they come in there to get all their supplies. Absolutely, I have done that. Leads are in abundance. You get them from magazines, social media sites, Google, driving around, like I said, billboards. Lots of times when you're in a car repair shop, they have this whole thing of business cards up there and stuff, and you can just grab them all. I usually sit around and take pictures of them, and then when I have time, I go through them, look them up, stick them onto my CRM, and I'm still using your CRM that
Good.
SiteSwan gave to me, which so far is working good. So I don't need anything really elaborate yet. So everything goes on there.
Other places I've seen a lot of those business cards hanging out at a masonry supply store, like a mason yard,
Oh
lumber
yeah.
yard, ton
Mhm.
of contractors, ton of service providers, plumbing supply stores. Um, and then the other one that I was not expecting was the local building department in your town or city. You walk in there and it's flooded. Matter of fact, there was a binder. I walked in, there was a binder this thick of
A business card.
businesses with all of their contact information in it.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Snap
Holy
away
cow.
with your phone.
Um,
Yeah, so like I said, they're abundant. So you can, you shouldn't have any problem getting leads to go after. I started small, like I said, so I only wanted to do the website. So I have really been focused on people that have really terrible websites or no website at all. I haven't gone into the bigger fish yet. I can because I do social posts now, and 6 of my customers are doing social posts with me now. But I haven't gone after the bigger fish, the ones that have really technical, great websites that they're probably paying thousands of dollars for, but they probably don't function any better than SiteSwan.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we talk about pricing. Let me go back for a quick second. What are you doing for social?
Well, I'm only doing social media posts on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. and I charge 10 extra dollars if they want more than one social platform. I'm 150 for 10 posts and 200 for 15 posts. And I will create their ad for free if they want to do ads, and then they just pay the budget, whatever that is, put their credit card on it. So um, I know that the companies I worked for before were double, triple what I'm charging. But again, when you're using Canva and these other tools, it's so easy. I almost feel a little guilty. But they would know how to do it anyway. I mean, they can't even get into their emails half the time and stuff. So it's not like they're going to ever know how to do it. So one day I'll charge more. But like I said earlier, I didn't want to raise any of my prices till the first year. I said, as soon as January starts, then I'll relook. Because several people have told me, oh, you just don't charge enough. That I can't believe. What are you doing for that price? But I have, like I said, I raised my monthly to $75 a month.
Yes.
And I did that because I incorporated the search engine submission tool into it. And I will do their domain name too in that. But I prefer not to because I don't have to pay for it. So I love when they do it themselves, but it's included if they want it. And then Google Business Profile. I was doing it for people. And now I said, no, you need to do it yourself, because I ran into the issue where Google will make you do the whole video thing and stand outside. And I go, I'm not going to go run around doing that. So I told my two companies that happened to, I said, you get on there and try to do it yourself. And they got right through and on. And so now I'm just telling everybody, I'm sending them the link to Google Business Profile page and go get on there and do that yourself, because that's really your first step. Get on that profile page.
Yeah, it is something that you can still offer to lend a hand with, because sometimes that's what business owners need, is they want to be walked through a process more than not wanting to do it at all. They want to make sure they don't screw it up because they don't trust themselves.
Absolutely.
So even if you got, 75% of the way through, but then you needed them to do that last 25% or a portion of it, I don't think it's a lot to ask when you're still actually charging them for that, because getting those Google profiles are not the simplest, most straightforward thing. And it takes a little bit of prior knowledge or experience of having done one or two to be able to get really comfortable with it. We charge $100, $200, something like that. Your time is worth something. And let's be honest, they're going to ask for your help anyway, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what I need to do, because I do QR codes for them. I've done several logos without charging and things like that. I've done flyers for them, and several of them want me to run their business. But
you're moving up market a little bit with your pricing. You've got a plan in place for that. And I still think you have room to go above the $75 price point, but that's a different story, especially with the experience you bring to the table. You've mentioned all these different ways to acquire clients or acquire prospects or leads. What's your favorite if you had to pick one?
Well, the best way is referrals, hands down, asking for a referral for sure. If they're calling me, I'm very happy. But probably getting the people on social media, because lots of times on social media, they'll put up a Facebook first before they do anything like a website or go onto Google and do anything. So it's a good catch if you can get those people there before they go into that. So that would be where I hunt most. I'm a hunter-gatherer, so that's what I've been doing. And lucky for a lot of my clients that I'm honest, because they will literally say, I'm pulling over to the side of the road to give you my credit card. And I'm like, you're not even going to look my website up or check me out, but okay, give it to me. Yeah, so yeah.
Love that.
Take it when they offer it. That's for sure.
That's exactly.
I've heard too many phone calls where people don't take it.
Exactly. Facebook is a great tool. It's a great tool for lead gen, and something that, the 14-day launch plan, which you went through, right? That's the very first phase, is the social outreach. And I'm being told over and over again by people that they're coming out of the gates, going right into social outreach and finding success, finding the first 1, 2, 5 or more clients that way. So it's a great strategy that is not just something you do in the beginning. You do it ongoing. There's always more stuff constantly populating on social. Go out, find it, and like you said, hunt and gather and bring those leads home. But obviously, you're not just utilizing that. And whenever I have the chance to talk to someone like you, I like to go through some tips for success. And I like to base them off of things that I think you'll be able to help me drive home. So, like, even though you found social to be very effective for you, you also have to work the phones, because as much as some people might shy away from picking up the phone and calling someone, if you do the proper research ahead of time, it's not nearly as scary as it sounds. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I think I didn't say, but I never send a message through Facebook. I call them always. I'm working the phone and call those people, and I just say, "Hey, it's Tammy. I was trying to get a hold of so and so roofers. Give me a call back." And then I never say who I am or what I'm doing, and they always call back. And it's very rare, but you get really rude people sometimes, but it's really rare. The majority of the time, they're fine to talk to you. They like to hear that you're local. I give them a little bit of my spiel that I just went out on my own not too long ago after working with big companies that were charging an arm and a leg for small businesses like yours. And that's all I'm here for, is to help you. But calling is my number one tool.
I think a lot of people do discount the effectiveness of a phone call in today's day and age, but it is extremely effective, especially if you, as you just stated, can lead with something that humanizes you and also establishes a level of trust by identifying as someone who's local, and by also identifying as someone who understands what the other folks might be pitching them. You spoke earlier about being more mature and getting into this. For a lot of people, they think, oh gosh, had I only started this then, or if I were only in that situation when I had started. But I always say there's no better time than now to just do it. What could you add to that?
I would agree 100%. And of course, I'm saying those things. Why didn't I do this earlier? But I didn't know about you guys and everything. And yes, most of my friends are like, we're retiring next month. And I'm like, oh, just me and my husband, I just started a new business. But I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. I don't want to do nothing all day long. And I'm sure I could find things to do, volunteer or stuff, but it also makes you feel really good. It's very rewarding when you're helping businesses out in your community, and they're very receptive to it. They know that you're speaking on experience. A lot of the younger salespeople that are working, they can speak on their knowledge because they're using all of these things all the time. So I think it's just an unaged position to be in, is digital marketing, sales, and helping people.
Yeah, I think it's not the immediate expectation that a business has that they would be called by someone with the additional experience, but it's a breath of fresh air to be able to speak to someone who brings with them, even if it's not the direct website slash digital marketing experience, they're bringing wisdom to the conversation, to the relationship that you cannot fake. Let's be honest. So,
Yeah.
also, I guess kind of tied to that tip is another one that I have, which is just to always be learning. Just like it's never too late to start, it's never too late to learn more. And the one thing I'll say about you, which is how we kind of got connected, was I noticed that you were always showing up. We host these Ask Me Anything coaching sessions, and you're there, you're asking questions ahead of time, you show up for them, you're asking questions live on the calls, and then you're taking what we give you and you're actually implementing it. What could you add to that?
Absolutely. In digital marketing, technology is forever changing. Reason why I'm sitting in on those meetings too is to ask my questions, but I love to hear what the other people are asking too, because you can also learn so much. And I can't tell you how many different tips I've picked up from just sitting there watching, listening to what other people are asking and trying to do. I never knew that on the mobile you could put the little icons on top. So I just went and did it to all my websites today that didn't already have them. But I'm like, wait a second, I didn't do that, but I learned it yesterday. You've got to be forever learning, and almost pretty much in any career, but definitely in technology. You want to keep up with the latest, the greatest, the trends. not too much changes as far as a website goes and what it should be and look like and everything, but you want to keep learning. And you guys have the great tools. I go through those, of course, yesterday and the day before I watched all the interview videos and everything. But yeah, dive into that. If you don't know too much about it, focus on one thing. Just focus on websites. Don't think about reputation management or social media or anything else, and really hone in on that, try to sell people on that, and then go back and learn a little bit more about the other options you can utilize.
Right. Because it starts from the website. The website's at the core. So it's wise to start with that and limit yourself to that in the beginning. And then use your ears and learn, and just hearing what your customers are asking you, you will know what it is that you are going to expand your services into by just listening. They're going to ask you, and then you can deliver. Do you have any other tips of your own at all that you think that people who are thinking about starting their own web design business, have recently started, looking to scale? Anything you could offer up that you might want to share?
Yeah, well, besides the educating yourself, watching the videos and learning as much as you can, because knowledge is power and it doesn't happen overnight, and like I said, in technology, everything changes all the time, which is why you have to keep up with it. But you want to come across as that expert in marketing. When I mentioned earlier that I told that guy it's not going to work to have one website, you have to give your opinion and kind of stick to it, because it's not going to turn out well or be a good experience for them. And then you kind of lost a customer. I think they'll respect it better. Luckily for anyone new starting out with SiteSwan, you don't have to be that smart or that knowledgeable, because you guys have made it really easy. But still, it's very important to continue on. And I never tell my customers other things. They come to me all the time. Will you do my Google ads? Will you do my social media? Will you do this, do that? So I'm not even touching on that or trying to, but now I am moving into that arena a little bit. But yeah, take one thing at a time, kind of hone in on that. Go after small fish. Don't go after the whales, and get them under your plate. Residual is the best possible type of business you can have, is that money coming in every month.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So tell me, what are your goals with this business? What are you striving for?
Well, I am wanting to grow as big as I can get it to grow. But as of right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I wanted to get to 50 by the end of the year. So that was my goal this year. I didn't want to change prices, but I already did. I wanted to add another service, social media, which I did. So those kind of things already have come to fruition. But yeah, I want to continue it on. It's something I can definitely see myself doing for the rest of my life. And I'm sure by the time I get tired of it or can't work anymore, still going to have all that money coming in.
That's
It's
right.
still going to come in, even if I don't sell another site or not.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
So
Tammy, if someone wanted to find out more about you or follow you on your journey, how could they find you?
they can go to my website at Vanek Agency, which is my name, vanecagency.com. And everything's on there. I tell my customers all the time, I'm very transparent. My examples are on there, details are on there, and pricing's on there. So I'm hiding nothing from you. So you guys can go on there, and anybody, I'm always open to talking to someone, because not only I might teach you something, but I'm going to learn something from you. Like I said, things that you're doing. I love overhearing that. Again, that's why I sit in on those meetings too. Some people might not know as much as I do, but they have questions that I wouldn't have thought of asking before. So I advise everybody to do that if they can, be available to those Ask Anything um, webinars that you hold.
That's awesome, Tammy. Well, I look forward to seeing you on the next one, which we'll be having
All
in a
right.
couple
I
of weeks here.
appreciate you.
Tammy, I can't thank
Wonderful.
you enough for doing this with me today. You will greatly influence a lot of people about what they have to do to go out and reach their goals, and also realize that it's literally never too late. I don't care what your situation is, to get going and to get started and to push forward. With maturity, like I said, comes wisdom. And I think that you're a great example of someone who is able to apply what you've learned in your career to starting your own business, which be honest with you, those are the most successful business owners, the people who can apply their personal experience to start their own business. And I can't wait to catch up with you again sometime soon to see how close or how much you've exceeded the goal you shared with me, because I know you probably will. And we'll talk next time.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks, Tam.